Now, since how this code is an oil pressure issue, we first want to make sure that it is full of oil and we're not getting a low oil pressure causing this to come on. Now, because it's two solenoids, you would think that it would cause it on both of them, but because one may be getting the oil pressure sooner or one is a little weaker than the other one due to age, that it may affect just one, especially in its early stage. Because there's two solenoids, that it would show a code for both of them if that was the issue. But if one of them's weaker or one of them, whichever one receives the oil pressure first, it may cause only one of them to come on. So we just want to make sure that it is full of oil and we do have the right viscosity. Now, I have seen this fault come on when you first had your oil changed, and it was due to the wrong viscosity of oil. So if you just recently had it changed, and I'm talking, within a few miles, not within a few weeks, then it may be just oil viscosity is wrong. Here's what we're going to start with. Our vent tube. We're going to loosen this clamp up. We're not going to move it all the way out, and then we're going to pull this hose off our air box. Now we can move down to our throttle body, and we'll loosen this clamp up as well. Now you can take and pull on the front of it, and it'll pull off our throttle body. And if you look in the back, it's got two grommets. You'll pop them loose. Then we can move on to our next section. Now with our baffle removed, we can remove this other cover that covers our valve cover. Move our oil fill cap and then lift this cover off. There's two grommets in the back on it as well. And now we'll have access to our VVTs. This is a pretty simple job. Really all you have to have is access. Once you see a check engine light and you have this code, then it's pretty simple for a DIY to do this. Now we're going to go ahead, I don't know about you, but I misplaced stuff, so I'm going to go ahead and put my oil fill cap back on. I know where it's at when I go to reinstall this cover. Now here you'll see we're going to disconnect our power pigtail going to our VVT. You're going to take and put you a small screwdriver in between here and pop up this safety clip. And then we can take and you'll push into the side of the actual connector itself. While we're there, we're going to make sure that we have no kind of corrosion or anything that could cause a similar issue. If it's got corrosion or high resistance, it can allow that VVT not to operate as it's designed. So we'll take a look at that, because you think about it, this is a high moisture area. Once we see this is all clear, it's pretty much cut and dry that it is a VVT per this code. There's other codes, like if it's got an opening in the harness or if it's shorted, that we'll set. Now we can move on to our 10mm nut. We'll remove it. Now if you see, you can get between with a screwdriver, you can get between the valve cover and the actual mounting. Once you pull that 10mm bolt out, put a little pry pressure on it. What we want to do is try to rotate it so it'll break the grommet or break the O-ring loose from the head. Once that happens, we'll take these hose pliers, work it back and forth, and lift it out. Now before we install the new one, we want to clean any material around it off. The reason why we didn't blow this out is because you'll notice it's got a little oil and it'll just make a mess everywhere. So we just took our finger, pushed it aside, but you want it completely clear so that VVT solenoid will set all the way down, fully contact. Then you can go ahead and tighten your screw back up. Now we got an aftermarket instead of OEM, and it comes with its own different size bolt that is taken to put it back in. Now if you see here, Eric's fixing to oil up the O-ring or lubricate it before we install it. You want to make sure that it's well lubricated so it don't bind and roll when you go to put it back in. Now if you'll notice, our engine, it's got a lot of debris, trash on top, but it's oil soaked. Instead of us blowing it out and blowing that all over the top of the engine and have to clean that up, we just made sure we pushed it all down so that when we go to install this new solenoid, it'll fit flush. Now we can reinstall our electrical connector, go ahead and put our covers back on, and we should be good to go. Now it's been several weeks since we replaced this, and we've had no other issue with the check engine light. And if you look on the forums, most of the time it's this VVT solenoid and not something crazy going on when you've got this code. Now that goes for any make, model vehicle. I'm James Noble. My son-in-law, Eric Kinsley. Thank you for watching.